Seeing that you have one of the GOATs of commentary in studio today, I want to know how he's been so successful and consistent in doing commentary, and how do you both continue speaking and making your point when you have the voice of God speaking to you in your ear mid-sentence?
Great question, Justin. It's not just one person, by the way. There's numerous people in the ear. How do you do what you do? And how have you all, like, legit, I don't know how the fuck you do what you have to do. I could never do it. I tried it, and I was terrible at it. How is it just something you think you have a natural ability for? Or?
Well, I was trained for it, went to school for it, did a lot of it before I came here. But the bottom line is this: the secret to longevity, not only at WWE, but at any job, is to do what they want you to do. And I don't understand that concept. And a lot of people always reach out on social media or talk about it on the internet. Michael Cole should go into business for himself. He should talk about this and he should talk about that. Listen, if you work at McDonald's and they ask you to make a Big Mac and you make a quarter pounder, you're going to get fired. It's simple. So you ask me to do something, that's my job. I'm going to do it. I tell people at the end of the day, I'm an actor. And I'm given, we don't have scripts per se. Everything you and I do, Pat, or ad lib, but we have a script basically that we have to follow. We're actors. And I've told people for a long time that I am a fake announcer.
Whoa.
For a scripted sport that uses a fake name. And that is how I've got through 25 years of my career.
Well, hey, you crush it with all three.
Thank you.
Hell yeah. It is, it is, AJ, you've watched, I think, because your kids are at the age where they're getting into it, and maybe because I'm there, you pop over to Fox every once in a while. And your text messages about what we have to do basically in there are always so incredibly kind. It is a wild scene out there. I have so much fun, but Cole has to actually drive the ship.
I told Pat, I remember I texted you after the first one I watched it. You guys did SmackDown when you were there. And I think the first thing I texted you, I was like, I don't know how you guys do this. Like, I try to put myself in your guys' shoes. I'm like, to be able to keep up and to like speak coherently through all of the chaos and what's going on would be, it seems like an impossible job to me. You guys are perfect at it, but it seems to me impossible. So for people to sit there and go, oh, it's easy, it looks like a lot of fun, I'm like, that does not look easy to me. But
I will say, and I appreciate that, that is a really cool compliment coming from you, but like, it's very easy. Like, I'm just literally, he has to do everything. And it is, I'm very lucky, I think, because I've been a fan for so long. So I think I kind of I think I kind of know potentially where or what something's supposed to do. But they keep me as little informed as possible. And it's literally
by design.
Yeah, by design. It's like, hey, and they'll even like some of the wrestlers will come over and they'll be like, probably just actually see how you react to this. Like, it's like, oh, that's hilarious. Like, that is a hilarious thing, but he actually has to drive the ship. So I want to let you know, I appreciate what you've allowed me to be able to do, which is basically just show up and have a great time.
Well, my job is, to tell the coherent story, to help get the superstars over. I mean, that's the bottom line. The superstars are the ones that are out there, taking bumps every week. In fact, our Raw roster is in the United Kingdom right now on a week-long tour. The SmackDown roster goes to Europe next week for a week-long tour. So these guys are working 5 days a week. They're giving their bodies for entertainment. They're busting their ass. And it's our job as commentators to make sure that we tell their story, that we help get them over, that we talk about the characteristics that make them great. And what I'm able to do is drive the discussion to where it needs to go, and then Pat, you just react off of that as a fan.
Happy Corbin stinks.
But it's stuff like that makes what we do fun, because you'll make that line, and then I'll have to come back and I'll try to protect him the best way that I know how. Not that you're doing anything to damage him. I mean,
no. You have
character.
to protect him in getting strong.
Exactly, and making sure that he's strong, and that's the fun of what we do. I have to direct traffic. I have to make sure that the sponsors are just like you do on your show. You have to make sure your sponsors are taken care of, so on and so forth. So
State Farm was a quick run. I don't think you've ever had that issue. We fucked that up. It's been fun.
This is true though. There are certain arenas in the country that can hold our set, because we have a massive set. So certain cities don't have the capability of actually holding the set. So that's why we go to the same town maybe twice a year.
You ever just get completely lost out there on what's going on, where you're headed, where it's going, where it's been?
Not lately, because now I'm pretty much just on the road for SmackDown and pay-per-view, so it's a little bit easier. But back a few years ago when I was doing both Raw and SmackDown and pay-per-views, then you go into Orlando for NXT. Then it was out of control. You didn't know where you were.
You forgot stories.
Yeah, you'd fly home Saturday and fly back out on Sunday, and then fly home Tuesday and fly back out Thursday morning. And
see, because you're so much in it, like Friday Night SmackDown comes, so much has happened since the last SmackDown. I have to do like a full what happened last week type run before the show because so much goes on. I couldn't imagine if you were running three different like Raw and SmackDown are basically two different. I don't even see the people that are on Raw. Yeah, it's two different companies almost. You calling those all of them, I would have got so.
Well, that's why I always applaud the fans who know everything. Like in 2008 at Extreme Rules, so and so beat so and so, and I don't. To your point, I don't remember last Friday night until tomorrow when I can actually sit down and review what happened on the show last week because there is so much that goes on during the week. Because my job isn't just to be an announcer on Fridays. I run a department. I'm heavy in the don't work out of the office but work out at home. But I'm involved in a lot of different things throughout the week. So Friday comes and that's when I can actually sit down and figure out, okay.
Like what, Mike? Are you scheduling matches? Like what are you part of?
No, so I'm in charge of our entire announce team. So we have almost 30 people that work underneath me around the world. And, obviously with that many people, there's always stuff going on every day that you have to deal with. People have lives.
Travel,
personal issues, critiques. Working with announcers for Raw, working with announcers for NXT. There's just a lot of stuff that goes into the day.
And you're also not making the final decisions on any of it. Right?
Exactly. So, it's, some of the, I'll make some decisions, but a lot of the information goes to more higher ups. And then.
But you're the one that has to present it.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's a lot of shit. That's a management role, right?
Yes, there is. There's a lot to it.
That's crazy.
So,
yeah.
But.
I'll see you on Fridays, dude.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
You ever think you'll move up out of middle management?
Yeah. Well, I want to move out of middle management. Period. No, I love it. The thing that I enjoy doing.
You
now,
love the company, though. I think that's the thing about Michael Cole. You'll do whatever the fuck they ask. I think because of how appreciative you are, and that's very obvious.
Well, June will be 25 years on the air here. I want to make it 25 years because I don't think there's anybody, at least in our line of work, that's been on the air 52 weeks a year for 25 straight years.
Yeah, it's because you had to be a psychopath.
Well,
nut job. To be a maniac.
I enjoy it. I want to set an example for the people that are just starting on the team as well. But WWE's given me everything in my life.
See that?
They have. They've given me everything in my life. And, I've put kids through college. My wife had a kidney transplant that was able to be taken care of thanks to this company. And, I want to give back to the company everything that it gave to me. Also, when we have young announcers like a Vic Joseph, on NXT or a Jimmy Smith on Monday Night Raw or Corey Graves or Byron Saxton, the whole, all those guys, I want to be able to give back to them a little bit and help them along the way so they can become the next generation of the great announcers in WWE history. Because there's been very few that have been at the level that I'm at. You've got Vince McMahon, and you had Gorilla Monsoon, and you had Jim Ross, and then you had me. And now you're looking for that next person who's going to fit into that role.
And Cole's talking about play-by-play as opposed to just the color commentary role. That there has been a lot, but the play-by-play is telling the stories. Exactly. So that person is the storyteller. That is the voiceover. That is the driver of the show. And
well, they also ask you too. Why has Michael Cole been on the air for 25 years, or why was Jim Ross on the air here for 20 years? And it goes back to the old adage of when network news was so prominent in our lives, 60s, 70s, 80s, and into the early 90s. You had the same network anchor every single night, whether it was Brokaw, Cronkite, or Peter Jennings. And the reason that person was in that role every night is because when you sit, you got to remember too, back in the day in the 70s and 80s, there was 4 channels. So you would sit down at night and you would put on ABC News, and there's Peter Jennings, and he would be there every single night for you. So you began to trust him, and there was a trust factor there. And it's the same thing in what we do. There's a trust factor. Whether or not you like Michael Cole or you agree with how he calls commentary, what Michael Cole is presenting. You can trust that. You can trust that he's going to be able to handle the situation no matter what happens. And it's the same thing whether it's Joe Buck on Fox. Joe gets a lot of flack as well, but I think he's the best in the world at what he does because he's there each and every week.
Consistency. It's a comforting feeling as well as being able to execute your job at a different level.
Yep.
Do you ever see yourself working for like the OCW?
The what?
Office Championship Wrestling?
No, not at all.
Well, we wouldn't fucking hire you.
Yeah, that's right.
Clearly haven't seen
we wouldn't hire you.
I would call a match for that one day.
Well, we don't want you.
Have you seen
too
the
late.
How about that? You laughed in the face of OCW.
Yeah,
great, whatever.
Jesus.
What's this all about, AJ?
Whatever.
You think?
I think he's justified. I don't think he should call him.
Shut up.
Thanks, AJ.
You're not allowed to never
My
seen
guy
a
right there.
match.
Hey, Cole, though, people trusted
the best
those old
stories.
school broadcasters. One of them took some stray bullets in a helicopter, right?
All right, listen.
Bill freaking
See,
Ding.
this is sports entertainment, though, where things getting a little bit blown out of proportion is completely acceptable. And I thought it's going to happen with me, where people get sick of me. It's going to happen with Tony. That's why that's how they asked you the question, right? Is people kind of got sick of it, I think, and now with the stuff that came out from that, that's why Connor, who had knew people that was at the event, that whole thing. I mean, it's just one of those. But for me, trying to be different is fascinating because I watch.
But you're not, you personally are not trying to be different.
No, but it's also.
You are who you are.
I appreciate that. But you also had to make a decision to put me in there, right? So, for instance, football has been called one way forever. And it basically became, after Madden left, and I think maybe some other people had personality, it became like people were calling surgery. Like it became like an actual journalism thing. Like, hey, we're going to cover this thing fair, balanced. We're not going to root for anybody. We're just going to call for what it is. Point out the negatives mostly. It became like a factory almost. Like everybody calling football. And I think WWE potentially in the same vein during the same time had the same ideas and started doing that. And every time I watched the game, I was like, man, these people are setting the tone for me watching the game with them. I think football's a celebration. I think this is like fun. Like watching a game is a fun thing to do. So the NFL, I think with Tony Romo coming in and getting excited and everything like that, I think they got a chance to see that. For me, I'm happy you guys have allowed me just to like have fun and enjoy it because AJ said that earlier we're perfect together or whatever. I am not perfect. I've fucked up so many times. I have fucked up so much. And you guys have remained like, hey, yeah, okay, but just keep going or whatever. And I'm very appreciative of that.
But that's my job as you're learning your role is to protect you when you do make a mistake, to make sure that people aren't talking about that and that it doesn't, stand out, that it's not a highlight. Oh my God, Pat just screwed up. My job is to protect you so that doesn't become a thing. And I think that's really important, and that's why we're teammates. And I think one of the things that you did as well, Pat, is that you actually, before you became a commentator, actually had some matches. You actually trained to wrestle, and that helped a lot with your credibility in what we do because people know that you've taken some bumps and you've had some
main
matches.
evented pay-per-views. Yeah.
Main evented pay-per-views, takeovers. But anyway,
What are you saying?
What are you saying?
Yeah.
But no,
what was that? What was that?
What do you say? I've main event war games. I mean, that's.
and it was incredible. But I think that helped you, and I think that helped you with the fans.
I agree, by the way. And I think a lot of people potentially in the wrestling world didn't know if I was an actual fan or not. And then it's become pretty apparent, I think, like, oh, he kind of has probably followed along for a bit.
Well, and you say you make a lot of mistakes, but I feel like as the viewer, you don't actually know that. Like, you guys know that, but I don't think...
It's like watching a band. Like, you never know when the band will tell you they messed up 10 times, and I have no idea.
Yep.
But the other people that have potentially done the job that I'm doing know, too. So, like...
All 6 of them.
Yeah, you're right. But I just want those people to know that I understand that I have not batted 1,000 out here. You know what I mean? Like that's a real thing because I have a lot of respect and there's a lot of people that do great at what I'm doing right now. But it is nice that it feels like I'm very vastly different. And my time will end. I know that the time will end at some point. It'll run its course. But I appreciate the hell out of you. Thank you for coming in here today.
Thank you. It's great. I love it. And all you guys have been great. Seriously.
Next time, don't dress like a jackass.
Yeah.
Next time I'll wear my other flip-flops.
All right.